Hey everybody, this is Mr. Storm, and this is going to be the last video in this project. We're going to cover the last couple things we need to do, and I'm going to talk about things that you can do to improve this project and make it better. In the last couple videos, we handled opening the door here using some scripts and a trigger, and we talked about picking up the gun here and putting the gun in your hand. Um, like so, having the gun. Oh, I'm turning off the first person controller. That's not what I want to do. I want to turn on the gun. There we go. Putting the gun in your hand so that you can have it there, and then having a user interface so that you can have a cursor in the middle and all that stuff. We also handled animation for firing the gun and animations for the door as well. So we've covered quite a bit. And the last thing I want to do is I want to actually have something happen to these targets whenever we're shooting at the target themselves. Okay. Now, I have quite a few targets in this game. I have one here, and I have a whole firing range with a bunch of them in there. I've got targets around these barrels here. There's targets everywhere. There's targets in this, where is it? In the maze way over there. There's targets in here in places. And so I have a lot of targets in this game. What I want to do is I actually want to I'm going to focus on this first target in this first room. Everything else, all the other targets, you guys can do those separately. Um, or whatever you want as the targets. You can make the boxes targets. You can make the lights targets. You can make whatever you want targets. I'm just going to show you how to actually write a script so that the object you're shooting at gets removed from the scene whenever it dies, right? This is not going to look great. It's not going to be fancy because we're not going to animate this object at all. I'm just going to make it go away once it's been killed. Okay, so the first thing we need on this target itself is we need a component called a collider. So we need let's go down to physics, and we'll throw a basic box collider around this target. It doesn't need to be anything crazy. Now we only want it to register if we're shooting on this target area. So actually, let's make it a circle collider. I'm going to get rid of that box collider. Remove component and add, go back down to physics, and we're going to do a sphere collider. That's what I'm going to do. And I want to bring the collider. Oh, sorry. Control Z. I'm going to bring the collider down. Oh, come on now. Is it here? Nope, that's not it. Those are positions. I want to bring the radius down, way down, but, focus it a little bit more. Nope, wrong way. Down. That's in and out. One of these days I'm going to learn the difference between X, Y, and Z. So we'll do 0.01 maybe. Ooh, that looks good. That's almost directly dead on. So if I'm shooting in the middle of this object right here, if I'm shooting in the black area, if I hit that, I don't know, a couple times, 5 or whatever, it'll make that go away. Okay, so now we have a collider on our object. Beautiful. Now what we need to do is we need to write a script that handles the health of this object, and it handles going away if that object is deleted or is shot a certain amount of times. So we're going to write a new script, create a C# script, and we'll call the script, I don't know, target. Sure. Let's open that guy up in our IDE. Okay, now in this, we are not going to need either our start or our update methods. We can get rid of both of those because we're going to create a new custom method for this that we're going to access in another script. But first we need to set the health of this object. So I want to make it a public variable. We'll call it a float, and we'll set it to health. We'll call it health. We'll set it to, let's say, 50F. So this float object is just a number, right? And it's a number that possibly could be a decimal. So we use this little F after the number in order to make it a float. Okay, perfect. So now we need to create a method. Public void, we'll call this take damage. That works. And we want to pass in a specific argument. And that argument is going to be the amount of damage, which is also going to be a float. So float amount. Now this amount variable is going to come from when we call this object, or when we call this method from another script, which we'll do that in a little bit. I'll show you how to do that. All right, health minus equals amount, meaning we're going to remove, basically this minus equals is the same thing as saying equals health minus amount. So that's literally the same method, or the same thing that we're saying here. We're just going to subtract the amount from health, but it's easier just to do the minus equals. Health minus equals amount if health is less than or equal to, 0f, then we want to destroy the game object. Basically destroy itself. So if the health gets below 0 or equal to 0, we're going to destroy it's going to be destroyed. So we're going to save that. That's a very simple script to write, very easy, and we're going to attach that to this object here. So I can see in my hierarchy it's right there. So I'm going to drag this and drop it on that military target, and we can see there. And because it's a public variable, we can change that health amount if we'd like. Okay, so that's the easy part. Now let's get into the difficult part, the more difficult part, which is going to be modifying our fire script so that we can actually shoot something if we're pointing at it. Okay, now what we're going to do with this is we're going to call this other method. I guess it's easier to explain what ray casting is. Let's talk about ray casting really quickly. So what we have going on here is we have our handgun firing. It says fire equal to true. It's going to play that animation. It's going to wait, and then it's going to go back to the default animation and then set firing back to false, so we can shoot again. But what we want to do is before that. Before it reverts back to its default animation, we want to actually affect the target that we're pointing at. Now, how do we know what we're pointing at? Well, it's pretty easy. We use something called a ray cast. So we have some variables up here. We have our gun, we have the Boolean to check to see if we're firing. We also need to set a public float damage, so we can say how much damage this gun does. We'll say 100F. And we need a range, public float range, because we don't want this, we'll set it to 25F. We don't want this to be able to shoot all the way across the level. We want to have a specific range on it. And if we find that this range is a little short, we can actually increase the range because it's a public variable. Okay, cool. So now that we have those variables ready to go, now all we have to do is create a raycast. Raycast, we'll call it hit. Now, what a raycast does is it sends out, basically it just sends out an invisible line out from an object, out toward, basically out until it hits another object, right? And then it does all kinds of math calculations between those objects to see what we're looking at. We're going to use this raycast to see what's directly in front of our character, and if it's something that has a rigid body, then we're going to apply damage to it. So that's all we're doing with this. So what we need to do is, this is going to be kind of a long statement. We need to say if physics, because we're accessing the physics engine of the game, raycast, and the first thing we need to put inside of these parentheses is something called, oh, you know what? We need a reference to that. So let's go up here, public camera FPS cam, because we need to check to see where we're starting this raycast from. And we're going to start it from the camera on our FPS controller. Okay, so inside these parentheses, we'll say FPS cam dot transform dot position. So basically, where is my FPS camera right now, right? So that's the beginning of the raycast. The next thing we want to do is we want to send the raycast forward from our camera. So FPS cam dot transform dot forward. There we go. We want to send the results of that out into the hit variable, and we want to limit it by the range. Okay, pretty easy stuff. Now, because this is an if statement, we're going to put some brackets here, and we're going to do something if that returns an actual value. So what we've done with the range is basically it's going to go out, it's going to check to see if it's hit the range. If it is, then it comes back. If there's nothing between us and the range of our raycast, then it's going to return false. If there is something between us and the range of the raycast, then it's going to return true. So then we're going to actually be able to do something with that value. Okay, so we want to get access to the target. Now, we created this target script in something else, right? Sorry. We created a new script in this target script here. We created a new class called target. We need to access this class from this script. So what we do is we type target, capital, okay, and we want to give it a name in this script, so we'll just call it target. That's fine, lowercase. So that's the name of the new target that we're creating. Hit.transform.get component target. So the name, so we're getting the component, the target component. Basically all this line, it looks like it's a bunch of gobbledygook. All we're doing here is we're creating a new target object, and we're going to access the target object on the component at the end of our raycast. Okay, so anything that gets hit by our raycast, we're going to grab the target script off of that object. Okay, now some of the objects that we're going to hit with our raycast don't have a target object or don't have a target script, right? Because we're not going to apply the target script to everything we want to everything in the game, right? All the walls and things like that, we don't need to apply targets to those. They don't need to be targets anyway. So what we want to do is check to see if there is a target script. So if target is not null, does not equal null. Null just means nothing there, right? So if it's not null, in a sense, we're saying if there is a target there, then we're going to say target dot take damage, and we're going to send in the damage. Now, this looks like it's nothing, but look what we've just done. So this take damage method was a custom method we created inside of this target script. So we're actually calling a method that we created ourselves, which is pretty cool. Those of you in my programming class are probably going to be kind of excited about that because we've done a little bit of this before, but this is showing you how we can tie objects together, and our scripts can be a lot more agile because we can access our own scripts that we've attached to other objects. Okay, and that's about it. That's really it, because we're going to send damage, the amount of damage that our gun shoots out. We're going to send that to the target itself. And the target, whatever, it's going to take that damage. It's going to bring it in as the amount. It's going to remove that amount from the overall health. And once that health reaches 0, then it's going to destroy whatever this target is attached to. Okay, pretty easy stuff. Well, maybe not super easy, but cool stuff at least. And stuff you can use later in order to make your games more awesome. All right, so now we need to attach some things. So this target script is already attached to this object, and we have a health of 50. Then we have our fire script, which is attached to our handgun. Okay, that's good. Did I not save it? I didn't. File, save, and file, save. Okay, go back to Visual Studio Code. All right, the type or namespace raycast cannot be found. Did I type that incorrectly? Let's double click on that so it takes us right to the thing here. Oh, it's raycast hit. So raycast hit and then lowercase hit. That's what it is. I forgot the hit part. And save. Okay, so now it should work. Give it a second to think. All right, now it goes away. Perfect. So we have our health, and let's check our handgun. We have our handgun, but we need to assign in the FPS camera. And so this first person character will actually just call that whole thing the camera. Perfect. Now when we play, this should actually work. We should be able to, excuse me. What do you mean no cameras rendering? Yeah, that's a camera. Did I turn this off for some reason? I turned it off. Why did I turn it off? That's weird. Okay, well I have a gun in my hand already, and I didn't want that, but if I shoot once, twice, threes, fours, fives, it goes away. Beautiful. That's exactly what we want. Now again, we can change the behavior. We can change this by making, instead of 5 times, let's say it's 3 times. We change the health to 30. And while I'm here, I'm going to actually turn off my handgun so that I can pick it up. And because my script is attached to my handgun, I shouldn't be able to kill this just by clicking without a handgun, right? It's only until I pick up the handgun that I can actually shoot and make that target go away, which I can. Now, I can't do it to this target because I haven't attached a collider or a script to it, but we can see that it works at least in one area. Perfect. Okay. So a couple things about making this a little better. This is about right now where we are. This is about as far as I wanted us to go. I didn't want to go too much farther than this. I just wanted to be able to pick up guns and shoot that gun at targets and make those targets go away, to make it something kind of interactive. But obviously you can make this a lot bigger, a lot more interesting to play, that kind of thing. So there are a couple things we can do. One of the main things is it's kind of doesn't feel like anything is happening when we shoot that gun, right? Because there's no sound effect, there's no muzzle flash, there's none of that. So let's create a cool muzzle flash real quick, or at least show you how to do it. So what we want to do here is we can add a new component, and that component can be is it rendering? Where is it? Actually, no, it's not. Yeah, it is. Particle system. So we can create a new particle system. If you see, it's coming out right there, like off the trigger guard, which is not what we want. We want it to come out of want it to come out of the tip, so we can change where it starts. We can also attach this particle system to a separate object, an empty game object that we put at the muzzle, which is probably what we should do. And then what we can do is we can change the particles so that they are smaller and so that they look more like a flame. So we can just play around with this and change the color to like like an orangish red, maybe. You know, something that kind of looks like fire. Maybe like a bright yellow. I don't know. And then we can, I don't know, let's see what that looks like. I'm kind of interested. That's not what we want. But again, we could play around with the particle system here to make it look kind of cool. So we can play around with it and make it, let's see, we don't want it to loop. 5 is probably a bit much. 0.5 is probably better. Start delay, start size, 3 rotation, flip rotation. Scale, rigid body. Anyway, all this stuff is stuff you can play around with. I'm not gonna mess with it too much right now. But you can create a particle system. You can also probably find a cool muzzle flash particle on the asset store, which I'm not going to mess with right now. You can also add more decorations. You can apply box colliders around, or these already have colliders, but you can apply the target script to these boxes, so the boxes will be destroyed if you shoot them as well. We can add a new particle system in the barrels that activates whenever they explode, so you can make explosions in the barrels. You can actually bring in some bad guys if you want to shoot. And again, that's mainly in the asset store. So let's say characters. Let's set the price to 0 because we don't want to pay for anything. What's this? That's cool. Blacksmith characters. Oh, that's cool. And it's free? Get out of my face. We could bring that in and just drop it in and then have the, he'll be in a T pose when you start out, but you can animate him. There's all kinds of stuff you could do with this. I mean, the base that we have now, what we have here is a basic a place to start. It's a building block, but we can add more and more to it as we go, just by playing around and seeing what else we come up with. So that's about it for me for this part of the project. I just wanted to sound effects. Sorry, sound effects you can probably get a little bit easier online. There are some good free game sound effects out there, but we can try to find some sound effects on the asset store and see what they come up with. Sound effects, and again, free medieval sounds, electric, retro sounds, UI sounds, 8-bit. There's all kinds of sounds in here. Monster effects. And again, these are all free. We could just download these and play them. And then all you do is in your script here, let's go to my Fire script. Just in your coroutine, while you're firing somewhere in here, you would actually have it play a sound effect, which again is super easy to do. It's just like playing an animation, but you have to access, instead of an animator, you have to access the audio source, and then you would play the sound effect attached to the audio source. And there are tutorials about how to do that online if you get really excited and you want to do that. So here's my recommendation. Add some background music, add some sound effects, maybe come up with a cooler target to shoot at, make it look cool whenever the targets are shot. Maybe do some user interface stuff so that you have a, like an indicator on the top left of your screen that says targets left and it counts down. So they have to hunt down all the targets in the game. There's all kinds of stuff you could do, right? But just explore this concept, play around with this and see what you come up with. Because again, I can teach you everything you ever want to know, but it's not really gonna fit in your brain. It's not really gonna sit in there until you explore and you play around on your own. So please be curious, have fun, make something cool, make something interesting. Thank you for sitting through this very long project and these 30-minute long videos. But I appreciate your attention, and I'm excited to see what you come up with. All right, thanks. Bye.